Welcome back. This is Joy News Desk with Benjamin Akakbo. Now, we're live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 124. Coming up in this bulletin, President Akufo-Addo has reiterated his conviction that setting aside the 4th of August as Founders' Day remains an appropriate way to recognize and appreciate the collective efforts of the nation's forebears in securing the independence of the state.
Today, 76 years later, and 66 years after independence, our nation is considered a beacon of democracy and stability in Africa.
Now, President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has reiterated Ghana's commitment to see countries ravaged by coup d'etats and unlawful military takeovers in the West African sub-region return to democracy.
Ghana will continue to count on her diplomats to offer the needed support in these countries to help them return to democratic governance, which is the norm, and without doubt would yield more sustainable growth and development.
And the Asante Hene Otumfuo said to the 16th occupant of the Golden Stool, says Africans and the Africans in the diaspora should not continue to blame colonialism for their challenges, but forget about the past and look forward to finding solutions to its challenges.
Affords us the opportunity to perform a historic duty to pay homage to the 20 million sons and daughters of Africa who were the victims of the transatlantic slave trade. Without doubt, the most cruel enterprise in human history.
And a professor of educational leadership at the University of Cape Coast, Professor George Kwekutoku Odro, is calling for a more holistic approach in addressing issues related to education in the country.
We have presidents who behave like national chairmen of parties. If we have vice chancellors who behave as agencies of a particular political party, if we have deans who are behaving like agents of particular political party, then policy reform implementation will continue to be a challenge.
Stay tuned for these and more on Joy News Desk up next. Thank you for staying. Let's settle for the details now. And in our first story, President Akufo-Addo has reiterated his conviction that setting aside the August the 4th as Founders' Day remains an appropriate way of recognizing and appreciating the collective efforts of the nation's forebears in securing the independence of the state. He made the assertion in an address to the nation to herald the 4th year since the 4th of August Founders' Day holiday was instituted. The holiday was first observed in 2019.
Our nation commemorated the maiden edition of Founders' Day, a day set aside to recognize the contributions made by successive generations of Ghanaians across many decades to the liberation of our nation from the shackles of colonialism and imperialism, and the founding of the new nation state of Ghana. 4 years on, it is good to see that the needless controversy, spurred on by largely outdated political considerations that initially embroiled the celebration of this day, is being gradually set aside as more and more Ghanaians now come to appreciate the collective effort made by many Ghanaians to the process of gaining our independence. 4th August, in the life and history of our nation, is one of utmost importance. It is indeed a sacred day. We must remember the sacrifices made some 126 years ago when a group of our forebears formed the Aborigines Rights Protection Society in Cape Coast on 4th August 1897. Today, 76 years later, and 66 years after independence, our nation is considered a beacon of democracy and stability in Africa, where the rule of law, respect for individual liberties and human rights, and the principles of democratic accountability are part and parcel of our governance structure. These are the very things for which our forebears fought. The battle our generation must fight and win is that of rapid economic development. We must set Ghana to rights and get our country to where it should be. The challenge before us remains to build a modern economy and thereby generate a prosperous, progressive, and dignified life for the mass of our people.
Now the Asantehene Otumfuo said to the 16th occupant of the Golden Stool, says Africans and the Africans in the diaspora should not continue to blame colonialism for their challenges, but forget about the past and look forward to finding solutions to the continent's challenges.
Power of reconciliation and renewal. So, embedded in our culture is an obligation to honor our dead, to draw inspiration from their lives and to celebrate our heroes. Trinidad and Tobago deserves all the honor as the first nation to commemorate Emancipation Day as a national holiday. And particularly for giving it the international dimension it has assumed. Our presence here affords us the opportunity to perform a historic duty to pay homage to the 20 million sons and daughters of Africa who were the victims of the transatlantic slave trade. Without doubt, the most cruel enterprise in human history. To salute the valiant heroes and martyrs who through 2 harrowing centuries mounted courageous resistance against the enslavement to try and break free from the chains of bondage. We salute the brave men and women of all races and persuasions who stepped forth to lead the anti-slavery movement, whose trenchant struggles paved the way to the historic emancipation of August 1st, 1834. And yes, we also salute the heroes in the post-emancipation epoch. Marcus Garvey, Dr. W.B. Du Bois, Dr. Martin Luther King, the radical Trinidadian intellect George Padmore, C.L.R. James, whose intellectual and philosophical ideas fanned the flames of Pan-Africanism and inspired leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, and Nelson Mandela to pursue the political emancipation of the continent of Africa from the yoke of colonialism. The Emancipation Act, passed by the British government granting the slaves freedom from bondage, entered into force on August 1st, 1834. It set the momentum for the European countries and the United States, but decades of intense struggle lay ahead before the consolidation of the process. But while the slaves from Africa were at least nominally free from bondage in the lands of former toil, the continent were at least from which they were extracted remained under colonial subjugation. It was not until 130 years after the emancipation of African slaves that both the mother continent of Africa and the countries of the Caribbean, where they were now domiciled, could gain independence from the colonial masters, beginning with Ghana in 1957, and even then from the continent as well as the diaspora, we continue to ponder What emancipation? Sure. What emancipation when every government in Africa is still struggling against severe odds to lift their people from grinding poverty? What emancipation when we're still obliged to look up to our former colonial masters for support and survival? What emancipation when the descendants of the emancipated slaves still cannot walk the streets of the greatest nations on earth, free from fear for their lives? What emancipation for George Floyd, Steve Lawrence, Fafona, and the endless line of our descendants who have fallen to the feet of racial bigotry across Europe and the United States? And what emancipation when even our sportsmen cannot perform without confronting the taunts and hate of mobs because of who they are? We have come to share with you the joy and mirth of the moment, to showcase the thrilling culture that defines us and to bear testimony to the fact that beyond the walls of history and the oceans that seek to separate us, we remain and ever will be one people with one common destiny. It is in that spirit that we also recognize the need to go beyond the mirth of the moment to try to understand the essence of emancipation and the challenges it.
Now, President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has reiterated Ghana's commitment to see countries ravaged by coup d'etats and unlawful military takeovers in the West African sub-region to return to democracy. Speaking at the commissioning of Ghana's Foreign Service Institute, he underscored the importance of democracy and development while assuring that Ghana will render all the needed support to this country's return to democracy and the rule of law.
Our foreign policy is an extension of our aims, achieved through the vehicle of good neighborliness, which seeks friendship with all nations who seek our friendship and partnership with Ghana in furtherance of these aims. These policy objectives aim at positioning Ghana as a key player in global diplomacy and fostering mutually beneficial relations with other nations. By promoting a globally competitive foreign service, Ghana can represent effectively her interests and engage in fruitful diplomatic negotiations. Additionally, leveraging Ghana's governance and security credentials enhances the country's reputation as a stable and reliable partner committed to democratic values and attracting foreign investments and fostering economic growth. Finally, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the establishment of the Foreign Service Institute reflects our recognition of the crucial role diplomacy plays in maintaining regional, continental, and global stability, and in promoting peaceful resolutions to conflicts. Our world today is at the brink of a new global order, which hopefully is being shaped by a democratic and cooperative culture, underlined by friendly partnership with the potential to contribute to human development. There are, unfortunately, emerging trends of some military takeovers in the West African region, which are, however, not seen or accepted by the international community as the norm and will never be. Ghana will continue to count on her diplomats to offer the needed support in these countries to help them return to democratic governance, which is the norm, and without doubt would yield more sustainable growth and development opportunities for all classes of people in any society.
Now, next story, supporters of the New Patriotic Party in the Nalerigu-Gambaga constituency of the Northeast region have endorsed the candidature of 31-year-old Fusaini Nuraini to contest the party primaries in the constituency. The supporters who came out in their numbers yesterday to accompany the aspirant to file his nomination forms say they believe he is the only one capable of winning back the seat from the NDC. Now, addressing the media after his successful filing in the regional capital, Nalerigu, Fusaini Nuraini called on his supporters to engage in a clean and decent campaign while appealing to the delegates to choose competence and party interest over any other considerations.
Of supporters of the new patriotic party in the Nalerigu Gambaga constituency of the Northeast region poured out from their homes to endorse and support the bid of 31-year-old Fusaini Nuraini to contest the incoming primaries as the parliamentary candidate for the party in the constituency. The charged supporters who came from far and near in the constituency converged in Langbinsi before marching 28 kilometers away in vehicles and on motorbikes to the regional capital Nalerigu to accompany the young aspirant to deliver his nomination forms and complete the filing process ahead of the elections. It was a brief but eventful exercise filled with dancing and cheering mixed with a skillful display of motor riding acrobats. At every community along the road, people who described themselves as his supporters came out to join the convoy, which extended several miles and led to a sort of traffic jam on the Walewale-Nalerigu road. At the party office in Nalerigu, the constituency executives, led by the chairman and his secretary, inspected the nomination documents of the aspirant and with no hesitation or objection accepted and validated his filing as successful. The aspirant, Fusaini Nuraini, is a direct brother to the regional chairman of the MPP, Fusaini Nuruddin. He is 31 years old and holder of an MMC in Industrial Finance and Investment from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. According to him, he is an MPP by default and also the current manager of the several commercial entities owned by his wealthy elder brother. Speaking to the media after his successful filing, Nuraini explained to the party supporters his motive for entering the contest.
I have availed myself for the parliamentary candidature, not because I am the most talented person in Nalerigu Gambaga, not because educational level in Nalerigu Gambaga, but I have the drive and believe that the Nalerigu Gambaga people need to have a better alternative moving into election 2024. The MPP has to bring its best man forward. The delegates will decide. I am not the person to decide. But if I had the feeling that there was somebody within those contestants who had a better argument, better record than I do, I wouldn't have been in this contest. So I feel I can give Nalerigu Gambaga constituency the representation it deserves.
He appealed to the delegates in the constituency to choose a winnable candidate to assist and support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the flag bearer to break the eight.
The eight breaking is something we cannot risk. That is why the party has settled, or is almost going to settle, on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the flag bearer of the party. The party cannot risk an apathy. That is why we have to bring our best men forward. The Nalerigu Gambaga constituency deserves better. The current representation of our party in parliament is not enough for us. We need somebody who will deliver. Our constituency needs development.
He also called on his supporters to engage in clean and decent campaigning on his behalf for the sake of unity to defeat the NDC and reclaim the seat.
We have to unite. So this election, it is not about you. It is not about me. It is about the seat. So when we go back, we decide to our homes, let's think about how we can take back the seat from the NDC. If I am not the person to take the seat away from the NDC, it is up to you. And I pray that I find favor in your thoughts. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Some of his supporters, after a march through the streets of Nalerigu, spoke to Joy News.
I am telling you, you all what Haji Alima has done for the people of Northeast. I am telling you, Nuren is a replica of Haji Alima. And if we vote for Nureni, we are voted for Haji Alima. She will come and continue with all the things that Haji Alima did. People are going around telling us that she has asked them to stand. I am telling you today from authority and on my book that Haji has not asked anybody to stand on her behalf.
Nureni message is that he needs unity. With his track record, as nobody, he's not a constituency officer, he has never been a regional officer or whatsoever. He's just a party boy, just like me. But he has helped, and I can count numerous of people who have benefited from him. And now he's no one. What if he becomes the MP? Everything will now be in our hands.
Ilyas Sutanko reporting from Nalerigo for Joy News.
In our next story, a professor of educational leadership at the University of Cape Coast, Professor George Toku-Odro, is calling for a more holistic approach in addressing issues related to education in the country. According to him, the country's inability to draw the lines between politics and issues of national interest will continue to hurt the nation in its quest to have quality education. He was speaking at the Maiden State of Education in Ghana lecture series organized by the Educational Research and Innovation Studies at the University of Education, Winneba.
In ensuring that future educational policies are collectively owned by Ghanaians irrespective of political, tribal, or religious orientation, it is important that questions around affordability, feasibility, and sustainability are placed at the center of the policy discourses right from the initiation phase. Questions such as the following will be strategically helpful. Is the policy affordable in terms of its sociocultural, private, political, financial cost? What is or will be the opportunity cost of the intended policy to stakeholders? 2, is the policy feasible or workable in terms of requisite resources, human, material, etc., for implementation within the context of access, quality, and equity? And 3, is the policy sustainable in terms of the political will to commit moral and financial support to ensure continuity beyond the lifespan of the initiator? Governments should rethink the following issues that I have identified with my engagement with the aforementioned policies. Like the PNDC, hostile reactions were received from the NPP, and the degree of threats and tagging that characterized contrasting opinions tended to silence citizens and stifle constructive implementation ideas. In future policy reforms, governments should create a non-threatening environment and embrace contrasting views on policy implementation. A national stakeholder forum devoid of political party discrimination should be created for constructive interrogation of issues. The issue is not with differentiated political ideologies, because in the West, there are political ideological differences, and yet their systems work well. I think what is killing us is the fact that before campaigns, you say so many things. Yes, you want power. So you promise, you come out with manifestos, you want it, that one, fine. But once you win the elections, that manifesto must move beyond the political angle to a national angle, where you engage people irrespective of their party orientations, to engage in your agenda, so that once you start implementing, it becomes the property of the people, the property of the nation. That is what we are missing. The political, ideological differences, yes, they are there, but I do not think they are the issue. The issue is the over-partisanization of issues in the country. We need to look at that. I thank University of Education, Winneba, for creating this forum, which will be engaging. One thing that is affecting education seriously is the fact that we have developed a mentality of not drawing line between political party leadership and governance leadership. So you have at the district level, for instance, we have a district chief executive who should represent the district, behaving like the chairman of the constituency chairman of Party A or Party B. You have a regional minister who should be projecting the interest of the region. The region which comprises people of different religious, tribal, political orientations, who behaves as the chairman of the regional chairman of a political party. And that is the challenge that we have. If we have presidents who behave like national chairmen of parties, if we have vice chancellors who behave as agencies of a particular political party, if we have deans who are behaving like agents of particular political party, then policy reform implementation will continue to be a challenge. This is one thing that we need.
Also, a professor of the Institute for Educational Research and Innovation Studies, Professor Avia Nso, called for a concerted effort in tackling the challenges in Ghana's educational system.
Time for us as experts and technocrats in education to initiate and have discussions on education. It appears to me that in most cases, we allow the media and the politicians to lead a serious discussion. This time, we are asking educators from this forum and out there across the country, in all the academic institutions. I'm sure our lead professor, Odro, will lead in this, so that we, this time, will serve the menu for discussion and not the media and the politician. The latter objective motivated our choice of the two academics, one as a speaker and the other as a discussant. Because if you want to bring home the debates so that we can be the initiators, we can lead the discussions, it means that we might have academics who would obviously lead that aspect of it and state that very categorically. We also brought two representatives of the two main political parties. You have them on the Honorable Fojo and Honorable Park. I hope you are able to make it. Ladies and gentlemen, these are critical actors in the education space, and I mean the politicians. Love them or hate them, they will influence the policy. But that is not the case. The most important thing is that we must determine the focus and advise the direction. That is what we want this for.
And the Dean of the School of Creative Arts at the university, Professor Obed Akwa, underscored the need for a critical review of Ghana's educational sector.
As a teacher education institution, Education for Excellence, I think that such discussions are very core to our mandate. You know, our vision to be an internationally reputable institution for teacher education. And we have the mission to train competent teachers for all levels of education, do research, and disseminate information. And so it is within our mandate to drive educational policies relevant to our academic programs as an institution. And you agree with me that Ghana has actually faced several challenges in its education system. Historically, you can talk about access to education was limited, especially in the rural areas. However, the government made significant efforts to improve access and quality. So, those of you in education, remember in 1987, Ghana introduced the free and compulsory basic education policy just to ensure that every child had access to basic education. And over time, enrollment rates increased. The primary school completion rates improved. So Ghana has continued to make progress in its educational system. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not oblivious of the fact that there are still challenges. There have been efforts to improve infrastructure, teacher training, and access to educational resources. However, there are still issues with overcrowded classrooms, teacher shortages, disparities between urban and rural areas in terms of access to quality education. We can talk of curriculum relevance and the readiness of our graduates for the job market. It is essential to note that the future of education in any country is influenced by various factors. So we can talk about government policies, economic conditions, technological advancement, and societal changes. So therefore, the trajectory of education in Ghana would depend on how these factors evolve and how effectively all stakeholders, including our university, will address them.
Now, some Ghanaians are embarking on a historic road trip to London in the United Kingdom. Against all the doubts that greeted their announcement to embark on this 10,000-kilometer journey, they have crossed to the African continent and are now in Europe. We'll be speaking to them in a jiffy, but my colleague Samuel Kojo-Brace joins me live via Zoom with some details of this trip. Samuel, what do we know about this trip so far?
Well, we know that they started embarking on this epic road trip from Ghana to London on Sunday, July 23, exploring diverse cultures, breathtaking landscapes. And I tell you what, Ben, if you follow their page and the sort of pictures they have there, it will inspire you to say that you and I should also spark our vehicles and try to embark on one. Now, we know that, like you said, they've crossed West Africa and North Africa, and they are now into Europe. My last chat I had with them indicated that they are on their way to Monaco, and it's been such an exciting one. We understand that because of work-related issues, some of the participants would have to fly out to various destinations, including to South Africa and Netherlands. But we understand they will be picking some passengers along the way, and the number of people expected to arrive in the UK are 9, Ben.
Do we know the people on this trip?
A little understanding or a little background check we've done indicates that there are, I think, about 7 people on the trip now. Now we have Kwabena Pepra, who is a real estate developer. He's built a couple of 100 houses in his 20-plus year career. We have Kwame Pepra, who is also a managing director of Phoenix Realty Limited. He's a real estate developer. And they've developed Red Square, Rocky's Nest, and are currently developing the Blay in Oyarefa. We have Kwajo Saka, who is the CEO of Saka Homes and also a real estate developer with many homes under his belt. Franklin Peters is the MD of Inkit, printers, outdoor advertisers, and publishers. And he's on this trip, like we heard some time ago, someone was traveling under the sea with his son. He's also traveling with his 19-year-old son, Quincy, who is a student at George Mason University. We have Kwabena Ayeribi. He's an engineer from KUST, whose banking career started with Stanchart in Accra and took him through UK, UAE, Hong Kong, India, and currently with Afri-Exim Bank in Egypt. And he is also driving with his brother, who's called Kojo, my namesake. We understand that these 7 people will be entering UK on Sunday mid-morning through Dover. So that's the little we have on this particular trip, Ben.
Well, Samuel Kojo Brace, thank you very much for the updates on that very exciting journey. But let's now speak to one of the participants on the trip, Kwabena Pepra, a real estate developer. Kwabena, what inspired this trip? And so far, what has the experience been like? Hello, Kwabena, you would have to unmute, please.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, Kwabena.
Right. Boss, this trip is just one of those dreams many people have about seeing different parts of the world in different formats. We've all driven around Accra, Ghana, West Africa. We've done lots of road trips. We're a couple of friends, and we like to explore. We've gone to Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. We've seen different parts of the world. Driving to London is, like I said earlier, a dream. We figured out, why not? When we were asked why, we said, why not? If it's possible, why not try it? After all, what's the worst that could happen? We could get to a point and return, or we could succeed. So we did some research. We figured out all the routes, spoke to people who've done it, and here we are. So we're on our way to London. It's come with different experiences around different terrains, different border crossings, countries, cultures, and it's not something that you can actually get. You can't explain it to people. You should experience it yourself to understand the feeling that goes with it.
And maybe to wrap with you, Kwabena, what lessons would you say you've learned en route?
I can only say that the ECOWAS doesn't work. As you know, free movement of goods and people, it doesn't work. It's not that free. It's not that easy. Crossing borders in Africa is just so disheartening. You get to Europe and you realize it's just free, it's open, you don't have any borders. You just drive from Spain, you enter France. But you're in Africa and you get to Elubo and they expect you to jump through hoops to cross. It's not interesting at all.
Well, thank you. Kwabena Pepra is a real estate developer and he is on that tour that has been embarked on. Thank you, Kwabena, for engaging us.
You're most welcome.
Well, let's move on to our next story now. And the National Petroleum Authority in the Upper East region has revealed that as part of efforts to clamp down on the activities of fuel smugglers, it has collaborated with the security agencies to increase surveillance around No Man's Land, an area between Ghana's border with Burkina Faso at Paga. Correspondent Albertori has more.
No Man's Land is an area lying between each side of the border between Ghana and Burkina Faso at Paga. The area was given this name because it neither belongs to Ghana nor Burkina Faso. Until the early parts of this year, No Man's Land was a fertile ground for the smuggling of petroleum products from Ghana into Burkina Faso and vice versa. Speaking at a media engagement at Bolgatanga, the Upper East Regional Manager of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, Bashiru Natogma, said the smugglers often hide under the cover of the night and wait at No Man's Land, where petrol and sometimes diesel is brought and offloaded into vehicles and taken across the border into Ghana. He said at other times, the product is taken from Ghana into Burkina Faso. This usually happens when the prices of the petroleum products are cheaper in either country.
Their activities, bringing product crossing here, you know what is happening to the country. It affects you and I, because government revenues will be curtailed.
He said, apart from the fact that smuggling is a crime, the NPA was more concerned about the products coming from Burkina Faso into Ghana because the integrity of such products cannot be vouched for, and therefore unwholesome products could find their way to the pumps. As part of measures to end these illegal activities, the NPA collaborated with the security agencies to intensify surveillance on Ghana's side of the border, and this has made it difficult for the smugglers to continue with their activities.
And because the security agencies are collaborating with them, and then the way they are policing the borders, and the way they are on high alert, it's not easy for them. If you go to no man's land, now it's now a ghost place. Yeah. Nothing is happening there. You go to Bonnier, you all heard about that place. Yeah. The boundary there, nothing is happening. You go to Binda, that place, there's some boundary there where the officers were doing the exchange, nothing is happening there. And all these things are happening under the leadership.
Mystery sale is back at JCPenney. How much will you save? Shop smart and hurry in store for a coupon giveaway while they last. You could peel and reveal an extra 30, 40, or even 50% off. And stock up on end of summer deals and cool styles just in time for back to school. Plus, enjoy extended hours at participating stores. Surprise! The savings ends Sunday. JCPenney. Offer valid on select styles through 8/6. Exclusions apply. Giveaway in store only. Must be 18 or older. See store or jcp.com for details.
Of our chief executive, Dr. Mustafa Hamid.
He said, apart from collaborating with the security agencies, the Upper East Regional Office of the NPA is also intensifying their monitoring of fuel stations in the region, and that is making it difficult for the petroleum service providers to receive such unwholesome products, let alone serve it to the general public. The office of the NPA in the Upper East region has also recently closed down 16 illegal fuel reseller outlets in the region.
We are also on the ground ensuring that we monitor, ensure that the measures we put in place on the ground here is not making it attractive for the PSPs to receive those products. So both sides is not conducive for them. We identify some 16 reseller outlets operating illegally. And the identification came as a result of when we were doing our main inspections. We interrogated some of them, we asked them questions about how come they are operating without papers. None of them was willing to even tell us the source of the fuel they sell. You go to some place, you can't even see fire extinguisher. If I don't close it down and leave it, what will you say about me?
For Joy News, Albert Sorry, Bolgatanga.
Well, thank you for staying thus far. We take a break now for business. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Abeku Agri Santana. If there's anything that makes my life so easy, it is my bank. I love hanging out with my boys at our usual fufu joint. But even without cash, we still dey chop better with EcoBank Mobile. No matter the time of day, my bank helps me stay in touch with my beautiful wife whenever she's away. And when my beautiful wife is in town, she never misses out on her favorite TV shows because I'm able to pay up all my TV subscriptions from the comfort of my mobile phone. Whenever she has to get groceries too, my bank makes it cashless and convenient. And the part my wife loves the most is when my bank makes it possible and easy for her to shop from any part of the world without moving.
Welcome to the smart world of EcoBank. Download EcoBank mobile from Google Play Store or the App Store and discover the smart way to bank. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
The second clinic of the 2023 edition of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair promises to excite patrons in many ways. The West Hills Mall will host all relevant players in the housing and construction industry in Ghana from Friday 4th to Sunday 6th August 2023 from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. This year's exhibition is under the theme Home Ownership, Affordability, Comfort or Luxury. Visit the clinic and engage the providers in the housing value chain on all your housing needs, be it financing, land acquisition, rent to own, outright purchase, roofing, lighting, electronic appliances, home security, or home furnishing. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is your one-stop shop for everything housing. To register as an exhibitor, please call 0244 260 653. There will be daily giveaways by the sponsors to visitors at the fair. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats. Rent to own and sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Construction Limited, where quality meets value. Syntex 10.
It feels good to football with GoTV. Nobody but GoTV gives you all games of La Liga and Serie A, the Premier League and UEFA games that matter, and the world's favorite cup competitions. Get GoTV Super for only 249 cedis to enjoy the football overload. GoTV, love it.
It was barely a year ago when I sat in this very hall to witness the 2021 Distinction Awards. I watched with awe and admiration the honor and prestige conferred upon the then awardees. They had braved all the odds to make it to the top. I wondered if I could ever achieve such a feat. However, I was motivated and I determined to make it a reality.
The WAEC Distinction Awards 2022, showing this Sunday on 6th August 2023 at 6 p.m. only on Joy News.
We've had news file over the weekend, and an interesting part of the conversation focused.
Oh no, we are out of range.
Oh, don't worry, Daddy. I have Alexa in my bag.
Alex, what?
Alexa, open Multimedia Ghana and play Joy FM.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
Listen to Joy FM, Hits FM, Love FM, live on your Amazon Echo. Listen to your favorite multimedia radio stations live on your Amazon Echo device by saying, Alexa, open Multimedia Ghana, play Joy FM or Hits FM or Love FM. Or catch up on your favorite podcast by saying, Alexa, play, and then the name of your favorite podcast from Multimedia Ghana. For a list of all podcasts available, say Alexa. Ask Multimedia Ghana to browse programs.
And we are back like we never lost signal.
Alexa, welcome to Multimedia.
For crystal clear and thrilling podcasts and live shows, download and listen to us on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, MyJoy Online, Amazon services like Echo, Amazon Music, and Audible, Stitcher, Adom Online, Overcast, and Pandora. Take note of everything. Sign up for the multimedia digital platforms now to stay updated.
The second clinic of the 2023 edition of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair promises to excite patrons in many ways. The West Hills Mall will host all relevant players in the housing and construction industry in Ghana from Friday 4th to Sunday 6th August 2023 from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. This year's exhibition is under the theme Home Ownership, Affordability, Comfort or Luxury. Visit the clinic and engage the providers in the housing value chain on all your housing needs, be it financing, land acquisition, rent to own, outright purchase, roofing, lighting, electronic appliances, home security, or home furnishing. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is your one-stop shop for everything housing. To register as an exhibitor, please call 0244-260-653. There will be daily giveaways by the sponsors to visitors at the fair. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats. Rent to own and sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Construction Limited, where quality meets value. Syntex
Score HD, the new exciting football channel, is now available only on HD Plus and brings you football from around the world. Watch Sadio Mane and Daniel Kufitre in the top weekly match of the Bundesliga 1 and DFB Cup, Primera Liga, Copa de la Liga Profesional, see Ronaldo in the Saudi Pro League, as well as daily sports news every other hour. Also, get updated on Messi and Mbappe on PSG TV and many more. Feely on HD Plus channel 151. Agronaede HD Plus, the Feely experience.
It was barely a year ago when I sat in this very hall to witness the 2021 Distinction Awards. I watched with awe and admiration the honor and prestige conferred upon the then awardees. They had braved all the odds to make it to the top. I wondered if I could ever achieve such a feat. However, I was motivated and I determined to make it a reality.
The WAEC Distinction Awards 2022, showing this Sunday on 6th August 2023 at 6 p.m. only on Joy News.
Hello, good morning. This is the business segment on Joy News Desk with me, Pius Kojo Baka. The vagaries of climate change and devastating imprints of illegal mining on farmlands are taking a toll on Ghana's agricultural sector, food security and biodiversity. It has been estimated that the country may in the coming years struggle to feed its indigents if measures are not instituted to fight the menace. Fortunately, 50-acre lands in 6 districts within Obuasi and Adansi areas degraded by illegal mining activities are being reclaimed through oil palm plantation. Emmanuel Bright Kweku has more in this report.
Several open shallow pits dotted across an abandoned illegal mining site at Adasi on the outskirts of the Obuasi municipality. Like other communities and agricultural plantations ravaged by artisanal mining, the impact of the illegal activities are glaring. Director of Agreg for Obuasi East, Yao Osei, says the illegal miners have overtaken lowlands purposed for horticultural produce, threatening food security in the district.
Most of the lowland areas which were used to cultivate vegetables and rice have been taken over by these galamseyers, these activities of galamseyers. And if care is not taken, it will go a long way to affect the food production in the district, which will also go a long way to affect the food security situation in the country in general.
Formation of sinkholes, contamination of soil, and loss of biodiversity are a few of the deleterious impacts of illegal mining on farmlands. There have been urgent calls on the government to find pragmatic solutions to the menace. In its bid to salvage the worsening situation, AngloGold Ashanti Obuasi Mine, through its 10-year socio-economic development plan, is converting about 50-acre degraded lands in the Obuasi municipality and 5 adjoining districts into agroforestry block farms. Launched 2 years ago, the climate-resilient oil palm project is expected to contribute to Ghana's deforestation mitigation targets by the end of 2026. Daniel Artabentum is Sustainability Superintendent at AGA Obuasi Mine.
As part of our socio-economic development plan, 10-year plan, agric intervention is one of the key areas that we are looking at. So if you look at the plan, we've made several support towards agriculture. One of the key or highlight areas is the climate resilient oil palm project, which is affecting about 6 districts within the Adansi enclave. And this is to try and then see how we're able to use oil palm to reclaim lots of the land that have been degraded or that has been used for mining purposes. The study with Solidarity that shows that the Adansi enclave is climate vulnerable.
Nearly 30,000 oil palm seedlings of 2 variants are being distributed to over 2,500 farmers in the Obuasi Municipal, Obuasi East, Adansi North, Adansi South, Adansi Asokwa, and Adansi Akrofum districts.
So right here in the seedling yard, we have about 2 varieties. That is the palm millet and then also the one we got from Ghana, Sumatra. Each of these seedlings have their strengths, and we would want to sort of put it across the Adansi enclave and learn from it. One is good and resistant to drought. The other also comes in abundance when it's seasonal, and these are the balances that we want the farmers to have.
And that's it for business. Back to you, Benjamin.
Well, thank you very much, Pius, and it is on that note that we cap off Joy News Desk this morning. Thank you.